Hey, babe. You've been very good to me lately. And tonight I'm gonna make it up to you. I'm gonna do something very special for you in 3 parts. You've asked me 64 very sensual questions. And right now, I'm going to answer 20 and a third of them. We'll get to the other 2/3 later.
How did you come up with your username?
Very sexy start. See, when I was a young boy, one of my favorite animals was a jackal. I don't know why, maybe because they were weak, pathetic, and fed off of other people's kills, just like I do. Anyways, I couldn't just use jackal when I got onto YouTube, so I put a lord in front of it due to my sexy ego.
Who is your favorite character to use in Brawl?
I hope you'll understand, but I'm not much of a one-character guy. I like to spread my love around to many, many characters. Although I do tend to gravitate towards a certain few. The ones I tend to give more of my loving to are Link, Fox, Marth, Olimar, Snake, and a few others.
What is your favorite Pokemon?
Growlithe. He's cute.
What are some of your favorite non-Nintendo games?
You all know I carry a flaming torch of passion for Metal Gear Solid, but that's not the only secret lover that I have a affiliation with. I am quite fond of the Final Fantasy series, as well as Kingdom Hearts. I put quite a bit of time into Okami. When it comes to more violent games, I prefer Gears of War over Halo and such. Gears of War is actually a very solid game in my opinion. And I love Phoenix Wright. Phoenix Wright, I would let you defend me from prosecution any day. Sexy. I have to say, even though this isn't a series, I have a deep, burning love for Legend of Dragoon. I'm sure there are others, and I may touch on them later, but it's hard for me to remember. Dragon Quest. I love Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest. If you can't tell, I like RPGs. Ratchet and Clank was also a good series. Yes, it definitely was. I mean, it's not finished, but I like a lot of well-made games that aren't Nintendo. It's hard for me to remember every series.
What is the worst video game you've played?
When I was but a chubby, sensual lad, my sister got a game called Dogs for the Game Boy Advance, and oh my god, was it bad. This isn't Nintendogs, mind you, this is just Dogs. And there was no point to this game whatsoever. You got a dog, and you lived with that dog, and nothing happened. The rest of your life was there. You went to school, but this is what school was. You'd be playing with the dog because there's nothing else in the house to do, and then your mom would say, "Hey, it's time for school." You'd go, "Okay, Mom," and you'd leave, and they'd show you walking up to a school. It'd flash to white for 2 seconds, you'd be shown walking out of the school, and you'd go, "Woo, what a long day." And then you'd get to play with the dog some more. Playing with the dog consisted of petting it and telling it to roll over. I kid you not, this game had that little depth.
What is your favorite color?
A deep, deep red, the color of passion, the color of love, the color of Jessica Rabbit.
Who is your favorite actor/actress?
As a guilty pleasure, I'm quite fond of Jim Carrey. I find his stoogey acting, yet his ability to ground himself and do dramatic roles when necessary, extremely erotic. There are other actors I like, though. I'm quite fond of Jack Lemmon. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but if you don't, you should look up Some Like It Hot. It's considered America's funniest film for a reason. I would also look up The Great Race. It's another fantastic movie he's in. Out of many, many fantastic movies he's in. I would check him out. Then check me out, babe. As far as actresses go, it's a little bit tougher for me. I don't study the female acting as much because I'm too distracted by their gorgeous bodies, and also because I won't be competing with them for roles. Yet. But if I had to go with one, I would have to say that I am quite fond of Kristen Wiig. I wish she would get a bigger career, but I understand why she's put in those smaller supporting roles. I think she's quite funny. And honestly, I find Marilyn Monroe's acting to be quite good. I do think she was a very good actress, and I do enjoy watching her. Not just because of her glorious curves. Of course, your curves are the only ones that I need. I also do like Maureen O'Hara. She's another older one that you guys probably don't know. Diane Keaton, also. Very good actress.
If you had one superpower, what would it be?
The ability to grant superpowers on anyone I wish. Think about that for a while. Loophole. If not that, I would probably go with telepathy or telekinesis.
Where and how long ago did you meet Pizza Dude Man Guy?
We met in theater the beginning of my sophomore year, which is his junior year, so I suppose that'd be 4 years ago? Yes. Yes. Around that time. And we started a very sexy friendship. In the first show, he was my son.
What's your favorite and least favorite subject in school?
Well, if we leave theater out of it, I would have to go with either history / contemporary world problems, and for least favorite, let's go with health. I hate being healthy.
What's your favorite movie?
A tough choice. I'd have to choose between Some Like It Hot, The Mask, Shrek. Oh God, Ratatouille. There's too many. Okay. For live action, let's go with next question.
How's New York, big boy?
As of lately, cold and wet, but it's going fairly well. I'd have to say that I am enjoying my second year of training, and working on the short film was a lot of fun, and generally I'm enjoying myself. The only problem is I'm not making enough money to stay here. I've been taking on more hours at work, and I'm hoping I can turn things around, but I need to find some sort of income, which is partly why I started monetizing my videos. Sorry about that, guys. I know it can be irritating, but yeah. Let's bring this back to sexy. New York is good. New York is hot. In all seriousness, though, I love being in a place where there's always things happening. Like, it's a lot of fun to be here.
What's your opinion on the Xbox Connect?
It's been done before. I think there'll be some people who'll do it, but it's just there's not a huge lasting market for something like this. I mean, they've tried it before, like I said, and it really hasn't paid off much. Xbox is just trying to branch out, but this isn't a good way to branch out, in my opinion. Though I must say, I do find it quite fun to use the camera for...
Super Mario 64, Sunshine, or Galaxy?
Out of the three, Sunshine had my favorite gameplay. I have to say that I enjoyed squirting water all over the place. I enjoyed all the different nozzles. It was a lot of fun to me. For some reason, Sunshine isn't the more popular of the games, though. I'm just going to chalk it up to, I don't know how to properly evaluate games and move on. All three of them are very, very good games. Just, Sunshine appealed to me the most for some reason.
Apples or oranges? Apples or oranges?
If you asked me 5 years ago, I'd probably say apples. However, in the last couple of years, I've developed quite the fondness for citrus. And it's citric acid all over me. It's good juice, too.
What do you think of Kirby games?
They're fun, but I find them quite repetitive. I like more variety in my gameplay styles. Granted, I haven't played a lot of the recent ones. I have yet to touch Epic Yarn, although I have played a demo of it, and it was actually quite nice. Kirby isn't one of my favorite series. However, it is pretty solid, and I have to say Kirby 64 is one of my favorite games. I forgot that in the top 12 64 game video. Oh.
How did you get into the comedy group?
I assume you mean the improv, and in that case, well, I co-founded it with my roommate. I didn't really get into it, I more just created it for myself. It's the same with the sketch comedy group, too. There is, however, another group that I did audition for last year, and I've been doing shows with ever since. So I suppose you could say that I have at least proven to be worth something to somebody. We're hoping to take our improv to the next level. And after school, we want to keep it going and possibly even do it professionally. Wouldn't you like that? Professionally entertaining you through improvised comedy? I thought so.
What are your thoughts on Melee versus Brawl?
I do feel like Brawl improved on Melee in several ways, with adding more characters and stages, removing some unnecessary characters that I didn't really miss too much. And by having Subspace Emissary, of course. It also lost quite a bit of weight and became even more attractive than it was in the first place. The only thing that I do sort of miss about Melee was the speed of the action. At first, when I started playing it, it kind of took me aback, and I was a little bit actually unhappy with the fact that suddenly Melee was moving much, much faster than I was. However, I soon grew accustomed to it, and it almost felt more challenging. Brawl, I guess, hasn't felt like the same challenge. However, it's still a very good game, and I feel like it did improve on Melee.
Do you think Black Mage should be in SSB4?
If you're going to go with any generic character from the early Final Fantasy days, Black Mage is the one that makes the most sense. He's the most iconic looking and probably the most fan favorite out of all the classes. However, then you have to ask, do you want a generic character, I suppose, when there are so many developed characters? And do you want a Final Fantasy character at all, or would you rather go for something else? And do you want Square Enix at all? It's all very confusing. I think if you're going to go with an early Final Fantasy days with the old sprites and everything, Black Mage makes more sense than Fighter or Monk or any of the other ones.
Out of the 5 removed characters from Melee, which 4 would you bring back?
Well, I would return Roy because I liked him as a character. I'd return Mewtwo because he's a very popular Pokemon, and if they redid his moveset, probably nobody would want him out in the first place. I wouldn't bring back Young Link because I think it makes a lot of sense to have Toon Link it instead, and honestly, Toon Link is more unique, and having Young Link and Toon Link would be a little bit ridiculous. That would be overkill. So even though I'm not entirely fond of Dr. Mario or Pichu, I think they at least have a bit more of a place than having Young Link, unless you take out Toon Link, which I don't think you should do.
What genre of games do you like?
I myself am quite fond of RPGs for the most part, but I also do action-adventure games, I like puzzle games, there are some shooters I'm into. Really, I don't limit myself genre-wise for the most part, although I'm not a huge sports game guy. I'd rather just play the sports. There are some sports games that I do like. I like Mario Kart, I liked Mario Tennis and even Mario Golf, strangely enough, when I was younger. Some really good games in every genre. And there are some really bad games in every genre. So, while I tend to play everything, I stick most commonly with RPGs, action-adventure, some platforming. Basically your staples.
What ability/armor/weapon?
And that's our 21 1/3 questions, and that's all for today. Don't worry, babe, I'll be back soon enough with the next part of my special treat to you.